What's going on, everybody? Today we're going to be going over some tips and tricks for all of the bosses in Royale. Now, there are two approaches you can take to the bosses. One is trying to kill them before they get their ability off, but generally that requires a stronger deck and a Puppeteer to stun the boss. Or two, make sure your board is set up optimally so the boss doesn't deal near as much damage as he could. I'm going to be leaving timestamps in the description below, so feel free to jump ahead and find the segment that you're looking for each boss. The first boss we are going to be looking at is Tribunal. Tribunal will hit 50% of the cards you have laid out on your board. It will derank it by 1. So if you have a tier 2, it will be deranked to tier 1. If you have a tier 1, it will be completely removed from the board. Before the last update, you were able to stun him with Puppeteer, which bought you some time in order to kill him before his ability came off. However, they removed that, so the chances of you getting hit by his ability are very high unless you perfectly time a high level meteor. So as you're playing against Tribunal with the first boss, make sure your board is limited, but not limited enough to where you're getting overrun by minions. Save up your mana, and as soon as Tribunal comes out and casts his ability, that's when you can use the rest of your mana to place more units on the board to make sure you clear him in time. You're also going to want to try to make sure not to have above a tier 2 merge, or else it becomes incrementally more costly for each unit he takes out. And what I mean by that is the way the merges work. So if you have a tier 1, it can be taken out completely. If you combine 2 tier 1s together, that will merge into a tier 2. However, if you have a tier 3, that takes 2 tier 2 units, which is ultimately 4 cards, which is a lot more costly to lose than a tier 1 or tier 2. Next up is a Warlock boss. The Warlock is going to drop down a meteor, which will completely eliminate one of the targets, and it chooses it randomly. Now, the key thing with Warlock is you can actually dodge the ability with a merge. So as a meteor is coming down from the sky, if you merge quickly enough, it won't remove a card from the board. So you're either going to want to kill him quick enough before his ability gets off, or keep your board somewhat even so you're able to merge all of the units. Now with Warlock, after you see the meteor come down, if you're able to take the Warlock out before the meteor actually lands on your unit will stay there. It won't have its effect. If you do have a higher tier unit that you don't want to risk losing due to merging, make sure to drop a lot of remaining tier 1 units, that way the odds of him hitting the card you want to keep are much lower. The Puppeteer is the newest boss as of making this video, and he has 2 different abilities. So when the Puppeteer comes out, his first ability is going to shift the placement of everything to your board in a direction by 1. His next ability is going to remove a mana power level from your units. He will keep switching back between these two of shifting and removing the mana until he is dead. So if you have a max mana, he can take that down to 1. The Puppeteer can stun him, which does ultimately buy you some time to kill him, but it does generally take stronger cards in order to accomplish that. So when you see Puppeteer as a first or second boss, make sure you're cautious with how many resources you're putting into leveling your troops. Now, Puppeteer can be a huge pain for decks that involve placement around buff cards just because of the way he randomly moves your units on your board. Now, Bedlam is a boss that a lot of people despise. Every few seconds, he's going to completely arrange the units on your board with another random unit in your deck. However, it will keep the same merge levels. Now, when he first spawns, you have a couple of seconds before he uses his first ability. This can buy you some time to kill it before he completely changes your board. As he progresses down the lane, he'll continue to use his ability until the very end. Because of this, sometimes it's best to be patient. If he swaps your board with something terrible, be patient with merging on your units because he will swap it again. So if you don't kill him, it gives you a chance to have another completely random shift in the units, and hopefully you get something a bit better. Tamer is definitely one of the easiest bosses in the game to deal with. As he goes down the lane, he's going to periodically spawn a couple minions to come behind him. Higher tiered units can take him out very quickly. However, if you don't have the best cards, it's best to incorporate some sort of slow into your deck. That way you can buy some time to let your damage chip away at Tamer. Other than that, there's not much more you can do against Tamer. Thanks for watching. As always, if you ever have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments below. If you're not subscribed already, I'd really appreciate it. If you did subscribe, it helps out a lot. Take care. Have a good one.